Professor Yahya Kamalipour, who brings with him a rich experience in terms of global media and communication, to please summarize the discussions that have been happening so far. So over to you, sir.
Greetings from the state of North Carolina. I have very much enjoyed the discussions, presentations today. I would like to express my appreciation to the organizers of this global conference and your kind invitation. So I had the pleasure of spending a few days at Amity University in Dubai, and was quite impressed with its facilities and innovative programs. Amity is certainly on the move and is making a difference, not only in India, but also internationally. And while at Dubai, I had the pleasure of meeting Professor Marut Bisht, and also Dr. Fazal Malik. I think he is now Vice Chancellor or Chancellor of that university. Forward-looking, and it is indeed a pleasure to be associated with you. So, and thanks to the leadership of Amity University. In addition to that, in the past 10 years at least, I have visited India many times, and we have organized several conferences, I think 4 of the Global Communication Association conference. We were supposed to have another conference this year at lovely university in Punjab, but because of the COVID, we had to postpone that. So hopefully at some point we will have a conference at Amity as well. So as you know, today the digital media are hijacking our attention, especially the attention of our students and children. They are preoccupied with these smartphones and tablets and so on. And the internet has become a river of information that continues to flow faster and faster. And the popular sites and the popular talk is TikTok. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and etc. consume many hours of our daily lives. And reportedly, on the average, students spend about 4 hours with the social media daily. And that is more than they spend studying in general. So collectively, artificial intelligence, social media, robotics, and automation are reshaping our lives and industries nationally and globally, and that's the case in the US, India, Europe, and elsewhere. And the industry boundaries have changed and become global. So globalization is a fact of life. There are some who are against globalization and talk about deglobalization. In my view, we are beyond that point, and we cannot return to the era of pre-globalization. So in the process, because of globalization, industry boundaries have changed and become global. So the physical boundaries are not as important as before the internet and globalization. Information economy has become a reality. Information is a commodity and it is sold. It is probably the most important part of the economy today. As we have experienced the COVID pandemic with its many variants, it seems it's not going to leave us alone. We hear about new variations and has become a global challenge. So from my perspective, the COVID-19 pandemic has illustrated that regardless of our race, religion, nationality, gender, and political ideology, we are globally interconnected and consequently impacted in a similar fashion. And we have experienced that all over the world. The pandemic has turned our world upside down by drastically shattering economies, human interactions, livelihoods, chain stores, chain supplies, restaurants, educational institutions, governmental institutions, and has forced us to change and modify our ways of life. Likewise, our lives, our relationships, and pre-corona daily routines have been drastically changed. As it might be, in your case, for the past 2 years at least, all of us, most of us teaching, have been confined to our homes and computers, and in fact, I'm zoomed out. Too many Zoom meetings, and it's been good for Zoom, but not good for us and relationships with our students and our colleagues. So in our highly interconnected digital environment, at some point in the future, and this is something that we need to take into consideration, we might be confronted with an electronic virus that could potentially disrupt the communication and economies of the world. And by that, I mean a global cyber pandemic or a global cyber attack. So when the energy is not available to run the zeros and ones of the communication technologies, all digitized information and real-time global connections may be lost, perhaps forever. Thus, what we will do? Do we have a plan? Have we considered alternatives? That would be similar to the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. It arrived and we were not prepared. That may arrive, we may not be prepared. So preparation is the key. And I think in this process, all educational institutions play a crucial role. And I listened to Dr. Sam Petroda's passionate message and agree with many of his comments. We are facing many challenges and many problems, and we are in pain regardless of where we live. We are confronting different issues, but many of them are similar globally. So my point is, let us learn the lessons of COVID-19 by modifying our actions, behaviors, and attitudes. And that means change. And normally humans do not change easily. It takes time. And let us chart together a better, a more harmonious future for ourselves and future generations. A better future for the earth and humanity requires global cooperation based on mutual respect and recognizing boundaries of nation states. And it is unfortunate what we are witnessing globally. Conflicts, wars continue. And clearly, polarization and conflict are not conducive to a better future. They're obstacles. And unfortunately, we see divisions. We see countries polarized, and that is the case in the US and other parts of the world, and that is unfortunate. Something has to be done. Again, my opinion is the best option is education, teaching the young people about these issues and guiding them as to how they should navigate and how and why they should care about what is happening regionally, nationally, globally. So, these are broad topics and we can spend a lot of time discussing them. But we can, I think, we can and should rise to do better than before. And what's progress? How do we define it, right? We can and should rise to do better than before by learning the lessons of human history. Whether we like it or not, one thing is certain: tomorrow will be much different from today. And with that, I thank you and for your attention. I hope we can meet in person at some point in the future. And I wish you all the best and hope the educational institutions like Amity and major universities in the US, India, Europe, Australia, and China, and elsewhere can lead on these global issues and come up with a strategy. What do we need to do to change course?
Thank you very much, sir.